Well, if I'm not making a part for the machine or a tool, I'm making a gift for somebody, I guess. So I've got my son. He's been the greatest recipient of turned items, and my daughter, she's got hers coming, and my wife, I told her I had one coming for her, and she said, well, my birthday was way back when, and well, this is just for the hell of it gift. So that's my excuse for making something, really simple. Now, I get the big head, think I'm like king of the threads, and I don't know anything about cutting threads. I can do quite the facsimile of threads, but there's so much more to it than I know and that I'm aware of, and what that tells me is it's not that hard to do. Now, there's some other YouTubers who are kind of, well, they're way above me in skill level, and they've never cut a thread. And I'm here to, I want to change that. I want you guys who haven't done it for whatever reason, just try it. Shit, I tried it in my first, within my first year on the mini lathe. It's not it probably is a science, but you can make usable, passable threads without taking it all the way to the nines. Say on the mini lathe, for instance, I cut all my threads on the mini lathe without the compound. So I'm not cutting anything at 60 degrees. I'm cutting straight in with the cross slide and cutting both surfaces at the same time. And I have multiple successes cutting, great threads and all manner of material. It doesn't matter. The Pratt & Whitney, it brought me to another level. It brought me to the world of multi-start threads. And I'm sure, I've seen people do it, and I'm thinking, well, what are they doing? He's indexing that piece somehow, or he's indexing this chuck, and what's he starting? He's doing something different, And then when I started reading the manual for my lathe, it has a multiple thread indexing chart, which kind of gives me enough information to be able to do it on this machine. And I'm not sure if all these numbers I'm sure they would probably transfer to another machine. But I think what I'm getting at is if I didn't have this machine, I wouldn't be cutting 4-start, 2-start threads. And that's for sure, because there's, my chart here tells me that if I want to have 5 threads per inch, I need to set my levers for cutting the gear at 2.5 threads per inch. And I want to, for 4 starts, I'm going to start it on 1, A, 2, and B. And for 2-start threads, I'm going to start it on 1. And for those, you're starting it in on to any number and then any letter. And that's for 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, and 26. So I'll hold this chart up here. Once you get a look at it, you can take a screenshot of it maybe. and try that on your machine. Hopefully that's going to come out. And it also says up here, okay guys, got a new little project here, making something for my wife. I got that nice 3.5 inch, 2.5 inch billet of aluminum, and I want to make my wife a Pond's cream, what do they call it? Pond's cold cream bottle, which is, you know, a short squat bottle, the 3/4 half-inch lid. But I want to do like the, what they do with the, these soda bottles. And I want to do a very great gap between threads. I want to do a two-start and as coarse as possible, so that you put that lid on there and turn it a half a turn and it's secure. I'm thinking maybe 3 total. Well, I guess I should have, well, I could stop at 3. I could have 3 total threads. I could do 4 total threads. That would give me, you know, 2 of each start. But I could always just do 3. Just do a start on A, start on 1, start on A, discontinue threading. So my goal is to have a lid that's just going to, like I said, just half a turn, it's sucked down a half inch. You know, line the thing with red felt, you know, have something engraved on the outside of it, you know, you're the greatest in the world, or the one who must be obeyed, or my life would be nothing without YouTube. I mean, you. Okay. Alright guys, so let me show you what I got so far, because I've started already. I've started on the lid. And I have a nice relief cut in there, and I got a decent finish on the bottom. Good finish here. I just need to chamfer this, and maybe a very small chamfer here, just relieve that. And then do the coarse two-start thread, and that'll be internal thread. That'll be the lid, and then I'll make the vessel to fit the lid. So there we are so far. Okay, we got this set up. I got my compound set at 29.5. We decided on a 7 threads per inch. That's going to give me well, it says 3.5 threads per inch, so I'm only doing a half inch, so that gives me 1.25. I need to rethink about that. So, no, I'm doing 7 threads per inch, so half of that's 3.5. Okay, so but I'm only cutting a half inch of depth. So that's going to give me 1 1/4 thread. It'll give me at least 3 threads. Not 3 1/2 threads. We'll see. I may have my thinking all wrong. I want to turn the camera off and go back here and stare at my... going to veg out. I had a buddy of mine ask me, we worked around a bunch of young high school kids. And high school kids were talking about vegging out. And he came up to me just serious as a heart attack. He says, what are they talking about? They're going to veg out. And my second favorite response was out in the woods of Oregon smoking a joint. Young 16-year-old kid supplying the marijuana. What was that? That's a squirrel. How big they get? Yeah. Good times. Okay, I kind of regrouped. And means I started over. Changed my pitch to 9 threads per inch. And I got a good start. I'm not sure what happened on that last run. I must have mixed my... I'm not sure what happened. I overlooked something simple. So I'm going to take a little break, come back and deepen these up, get some nice deep threads, and then we're going to part that off, cut it off for the lid, and we'll make the lower vessel to match those threads out of the same piece. Concentricity, I guess, really isn't that important because I'm going to turn it all together at the end. Yeah, we'll keep it. I'll try to use the parting blade to part that, and maybe we can keep that in the chuck. But once I get the bottom made and the thread made for it to go in the lid, I can screw the lid on, put it on the chuck, turn it all perfectly concentric, hide the seam even. All right. Might be going a little fast. The results are good using high-speed steel. Break that edge a little bit. I need to extend my cutting tool a little bit. Maybe a lot. That blade shifted a little bit when I extended it, so we're probably going to have some residual cutting going on, let's call it that. Take a minute and show you some of these chips. Yeah, there's tons of them. Okay, a little more length on my bar. See if I can do that with you in place. Look, you gotta move. There isn't very much more to go, maybe a 1/4 inch. That is an awful, pretty great stick out. Let me bring you back over here. Okay. Okay, let's take this over and give it a look over. Okay, here's our part. We got 3.5 to 4 threads, double start, 2 start threads, and there's, like I said, 3 to 4 thread forms. So, okay with the OD, this is the actual top, and that'll stay like that. That'll be one of the last operations, cleaning that up and forming this lid, giving it giving it a larger radius, a very large radius. So that's the top. And like I said, I'm hoping that'll thread on all the way down with, maybe, half a turn, no more than one complete turn. I believe that should find its home. So that leaves us back here at the lathe, pretty much cleaned up, and this is my remaining stock, and this will be the lower vessel. So we'll center drill, bore, and we're going to bore that to that is going to be close to 1.5 inches. Very, very thin bottom. The whole idea is to make this, pretty lightweight. We still need to work out, my ID for creating those threads. And I don't know, I always seem to get it in the long run. Sometimes by hook or crook, I get there. Very happy with the threads. In the meantime, I guess I have a top. Like I said, we'll finish that on one of the last operations.